Hey guys, Jim here. Wanted to give a 8-month update on the ZDZA Z02. This bike is still available. It is part of the Amazon Black Friday deals, and I wanted to give you guys my updates on it and let you know if it's something you should consider or if it's something you should pass on. Now, this was my first e-bike, the first one I ever had. If you're curious of my initial thoughts and my journey through e-biking, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel and check out my e-bike playlist. There you'll see a bunch of videos, ride-alongs, modifications, accessories, lessons I've learned, best practices, that sort of thing as I continue through my e-biking journey. I would definitely not consider myself an expert by any means, but I've put a lot of common sense and I've put a lot of learned knowledge through Reddit and YouTube and reading to try to make myself somewhat more intelligent on this amazingly cool hobby. I love e-biking, and it's something that I know a lot of people got into biking during COVID. I am a little late to that party, but man, oh man, this is so much fun, and I try to take this thing out as much as I can. But despite the fact I've had 8 months on it, not very many miles here. That's because I was basically using my scooter, which is sitting right over there. There's the old girl. You can check out my video and thoughts on the scooter in case you're curious. But I've been using the scooter for a really long time, but I found that as I've gotten more adventurous and I go farther, I prefer having a more traditional bike with bigger tires because downtown Orlando and the suburbs surrounding are not always the nicest places to ride. I'm not doing any off-roading or any kind of like crazy hill climbing or anything like that, but you know, the sidewalks and cobblestone streets that basically in the downtown Orlando and surrounding area, they're not always the smoothest. And those small little scooter tires do struggle. And it's really, really, really nice to have a more traditional bike. I feel a lot more confident going in places I haven't been before. And then once I've charted out like a really smooth path, then I'll take the scooter out. So my scooter's got way more miles than my bike, but my bike is definitely my much more adventurous vehicle. Now this is a class 2, class 3 bike. If you're not familiar with that, it means that it's a battery up to, basically throttle up to about 22 miles an hour. And then if you start pedaling, it'll kick into about 28 miles an hour, which is really, really nice. I've gotten a little bit faster going downhill. My wife gets to go a little faster than me even because I got about 80 pounds on her. But it will definitely get out of its own way. It's definitely not like a race car by any stretch of the imagination, but it has never left me stranded. You could absolutely pedal it if you absolutely had to. I want to say it weighs about 70 pounds. If you absolutely had to pedal it dead battery, you'd be just fine. But out cruising around, accelerating, you'd be confident you'd be just fine. And it works out really, really well. Battery life is great. Probably about 40 miles battery life, give or take, depending on how much you want to use the pedal assist to amplify that. Now, I did do 3 modifications to this bike, unlike my scooter, which is like my Frankenstein Millennia Falcon. I've only basically done 3 things to this. The first one, and the one I absolutely recommend on any bike, is side mirrors. I did a separate video on these in case you're wondering my thoughts on them, but I do like them. The nice thing is they do screw in to the actual handlebar here, and they adjust really, really well. Great for seeing over your shoulder. If nothing else, do yourself a favor and get a left mirror so you can look over your left shoulder. This will be phenomenal when you're passing. This is phenomenal when you're riding down the street, looking over your shoulder for situational awareness. I look as much over this mirror as I do over my handlebars. In other words, I'm constantly looking behind me. I want to have good situational awareness. I highly, highly recommend you do that. It is a number one thing. You cannot be safe enough. My number one rule when I ride an electric bicycle: everyone is out to murder you, everyone. And you would be surprised the amount of people that are in bike lanes not paying attention, and cars that swing into your lane, and other bicyclists on their phone or scooters or walking or whatever. And boy, is it nice to have some situational awareness to know what's around you. So that was the first thing that I put on. I also went ahead and picked up a Cloud 9 bike seat. Highly recommend that. The bike seat that comes with this isn't bad, but literally, figuratively, it's small and it's hard. This is a foam seat, which is nice. It's got a little bit more width. They do make a wider seat if you want. They actually make like a big butt version of this. This is about the right size, I think, for pedaling actively. If you start getting a little bit bigger into the more traditional bench seat or the banana seat as they call them, it is a little bit more difficult to pedal because it sits out so far. Here, you can pedal comfortably seated. When you start getting bigger, it's a little bit harder because your thighs are out, your knees are kind of bowed out a little bit. It's a little more difficult. So I think the stock seat is fine. You're gonna have to build some butt tolerance to it, kind of in the way like when you start a new hobby, like whether it be weightlifting and getting calluses on your hands, or when you start drawing and your wrist hurts. You're gonna have to get used to a bike seat. It's a little bit different feeling, but stick with it. You'll eventually develop some muscles in that area, and you will build a little bit more tolerance to it, which will help out a lot. And then the last thing that I did, and I did a separate video on these as well, is I went ahead and I put on a newer set of brakes. The biggest criticism I have with this bike is that it is heavy, and because it's heavy, the stock brakes don't work very well. Doesn't mean you can't stop. You'll obviously be able to stop. The problem is how fast do you want to stop? Now, when you're thinking of a bike of this weight, plus my weight on top of it, I weigh about 190. Bike is about 60, 70 pounds. You're pushing 260 pounds of metal going at about anywhere from 20 to 28 miles an hour. Force equals mass times acceleration. That's a lot of mass. So it's gonna take a lot of force to stop. And you can see here, not that they're bad brakes, but they're not great brakes either. And what happens is you're just gonna hit the brakes and you're just gonna hear these brakes just starting to just slow down. You're not gonna lock up the tires. The brakes aren't strong enough to do that, unfortunately. But you're just gonna kind of slow down. Now, if somebody cuts out in front of you in a bike like this, you could have problems, which is, again, going back to that situational awareness of being kind of conscientious of where you wanna be and conscientious of kind of how you want to, utilize the bike. As an aside, rest in peace, Kroger. You see the Kroger truck? They're leaving Orlando here soon. It's probably one of the last deliveries for our friends in Kroger. Rest in peace, bros. But what I was starting to say with the bike, with the brakes, you want to be cognizant of the fact that the brakes, the stock brakes aren't the best. Now with these brakes are amazing. I could stop and I'll actually lock these things up if I absolutely had to. So I do recommend upgrading the brakes. Everything else that comes with this bike in terms of like stock is great. It's got a headlight in the front for safety. It's got a horn. It's got a working tail light in the back, which is awesome. So if you're out riding at night and you want to be seen, well, you got a light here, which is really, really nice. And then you got the tail light in the back, which actually does illuminate when you hit the brakes, which is really, really nice. So you'll definitely feel safe at night. And I like the storage. I use it for my journal. But I have gotten food and brought it home before. Just get yourself a little bungee strap. I believe this supports about 50 pounds. So if you wanted to get cute, there are actually mounting brackets here. If you wanted to put a basket or something there. And actually does have provisions as well, although I haven't done anything with it yet. It does actually have provisions as well for a front bracket as well for an additional basket or some sort of storage. I like to keep it loose. A lot of times if I'm going out and I want to record something, I've used this before to mount my camera in the front. But if you don't want to have that or you want to have an additional storage space, that's what this is for. It does have adjustable springs here. You could just unlock and unlock these to give yourself a little bit more travel in the springs if you want. And the battery pops out if you want to take it or replace it. If you want to take a replacement battery with you for long hauls, super, super easy. Just put the key in, this whole stick pops right out. But it's very, very easy to charge. You just lift this little thing up and off to the races you go. Now, unfortunately, this bike does not include an additional power bank. A lot of newer bikes do include USB-A or USB-C where you can actually tap into the battery to charge your phone. This bike does not have that. So if you're doing a lot of long haul recording, which I have done before, I actually just take an external battery bank and I just basically tie wrap it down here, and then I just run the USB cable up to my phone and it works just fine. I haven't had any issues with that. Note that though, because of the curved handlebars, let me go around and show you the front. You can see what I'm talking about. Because of the curved handlebars, it's going to be difficult if you want to mount anything. You can even see the display that it comes with actually bows out. It kind of bows out at an angle like this. And that's because these handlebars, not only do they flare out, but they're also kind of wavy. So if you're trying to get into some kind of cute mounting system with like a GoPro or something where you want to look directly in front of you, be cognizant. You're probably not going to be able to do that on this bike. You can mount something off on the side here, like you could put your cell phone mount here, which works well. I wouldn't recommend it over here. There's not really a lot of room, especially with the shifter in the way, but you could definitely squeeze in something over here, which I have done before. Keep that in mind. I didn't install the water bottle mount. If you wanted to, you could. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of chintzy looking, honestly, but it does come with a little plastic water bottle mount, which I just threw it in the garbage. But if you want one, it'll come with it, so that's good. Overall thoughts with this bike, I enjoy it. Like I said, it hasn't left me stranded. I think it's a good entry-level bike. I got it as part of a deal, so I didn't pay full price as part of a review program that I support, which is awesome. Kind of got me into my hobby. But I want to say this bike probably runs anywhere from $300 to $500. I don't know what the current deal is right now on Black Friday, but it's a good investment, and I think it's a good starter bike. It doesn't do any one particular thing amazingly well, but it is fast enough. It's easy enough to work on. It's stylish enough that is, to get you started. And then obviously if you start getting into the hobby more, you'll start to find things you like and don't like. And you'll say, hell, it'd be really nice if, and then you can continue on. But I've had zero issues with this. I've gotten in places I probably shouldn't have been before. I've brought it home on fumes. I've had to walk it home. Well, I shouldn't say I've had to walk it home. I mean, it was, like I said, you can pedal it without battery power, but ooh, it was rough. But I've gotten a little too adventurous. But it'll tell you. I mean, the battery indicator is pretty good. It'll give you an indication of what's going on. And once you kind of start getting the mileage right, you can set up an actual odometer per trip if you want to kind of keep an eye on things as well. But good starter bike, lots of fun, and I do recommend it. Just consider, if nothing else, getting a mirror, and always please wear a helmet. God, I cannot tell you the number of people I see riding a bike without a helmet. Please wear a helmet. Jeez, that's all I ask. All right, that'll wrap up today's video, the 8-month look at the ZDZA Z02. If you got any questions about this bike, if there's anything specific that you are interested in getting into e-bikes, or something specific on this model that I can answer for you, please leave a note in the comments below. I will get back to you, I promise. I do read them all. And like I said, I do have a pretty expansive playlist of other e-bike stuff. So if you're curious about my e-bike journey, or kind of what I've been up to, or the secret bike that I will soon take delivery of, well, this is the place to stay. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.